network. FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro. FM 100.5 Smyrna. Audio and video streaming at wgnsradio.com. This is the Roundtable. A look at the news, views, politics, and people that are shaping Rutherford County.
And good morning, and welcome to Tuesday Mornings with Rick and Wayne. And a little chilly this morning, but it is that season's time of the year. Brother Rick this morning is with his lovely wife. She's having some surgery, so we will try to persevere without him this morning. Again, we come to you each Tuesday morning at 9 o'clock. With a focus on the northern end of Rutherford County. And sometimes our shows will affect the county community and sometimes the entire state. And really, that's the show this morning. Have a longtime friend back to 1972 who has worn so many hats in community leadership here. And it's my pleasure this morning to have, bear with me just a second, Bill, okay. Commissioner, state senator, county mayor, and probably more chairmanships than I can count. Welcome and thank you for being with us this morning,
Senator.
Senator.
Thank you so much, Wayne, and Merry Christmas to you.
Merry Christmas.
And just it's a pleasure to be here on this cold morning.
It is. It's fun to see you too, brother. Since Brian's still standing here, we've got the state championship again coming through Rutherford County, and it's a do-over from last year, isn't it?
Yes, I hope it's not an exact do-over from last year. Oakland lost to Houston 24-9 last year, so we don't want that to happen.
Sure.
But the 27th straight semifinal. And 30 out of the last 31 years, we've had a team get to last Friday's semifinals or better. And Oakland hopes to bring home the 14th state title for Rutherford County on Saturday night.
I tell you what, I don't dislike Maryville, but they've been okay. Well, let me rephrase. Okay, I am just always so thrilled for them to beat Maryville because Maryville has such a storied history and so much success in state championships and
they've
won for
Oakland. They've won 17 state titles there.
That's a bunch.
Yeah.
That's a bucket full.
But Oakland's been there now 5 in a row, and last time Maryville was there was 2019. So they've had to. So now Oakland's kind of turned the page on them a little bit. Maryville always was beating people in the 2010s. Here from Rutherford County, so
they don't have Quarles anymore.
That is true.
He was an amazing coach. So.
Yeah,
but thank you for the sports update.
Absolutely.
So back to our special guest. So I'm always referring to individuals because I know how hard it is to earn an office, and I always am in a quandary. Rather to call you mayor or senator, and I know you want to be known just as Bill, but like I said, knowing how hard it is to get elected especially to these higher offices, it's hard for me not to call you senator or mayor.
Oh, well, thank you, Wayne. It's it's been a pleasure to serve the people. Not just of Rutherford County, but my first 10 years in the Senate, I had 4 counties. I had Murray, Marshall, Lincoln, and Western Rutherford County. So it'd take me an hour and a half to get to Fayetteville, an hour to Columbia, an hour to Lewisburg and Cornersville, some of those places. But it's been an honor to mainly focus on Rutherford County and represent the people here, always trying to make things better.
Yes, sir.
It's always been my goal.
Yes, sir. So how many terms as county commissioner?
I had 2 terms on the county commission. I served 8 years. First got elected in 1990, left in 98, and then went down to Smyrna and opened a convenience store. Teresa and I built a truck stop and a convenience store and a little deli restaurant. We thought I'd try our hand in small business, and took a lot of pride in that. Trying to help especially the economy there in Smyrna.
Yes,
out there by the base, and it was kind of fun doing something different than what she worked for AT&T and worked for a small independent insurance business for 40 some odd years. But doing that was a little bit different, and then came back and the state party approached me about running for a new Senate seat because reapportionment had occurred like it does every 10 years based on the census. And they asked me to run for the state Senate, which included those other three counties, Murray, Marshall, and Lincoln, and then western Rutherford, and run against a guy who was being groomed by Jimmy Nafee to be governor, Bobby Sands. And Bobby, when you and I were at MTSU, he was our student body president.
I apologize, I don't remember that.
Yeah, and so he thought he had it locked up, running against this guy that he didn't know. I knew him, but he didn't know me, because I was a freshman when he was at MTSU. And we ended up beating him because he voted for the state income tax. That was the year in 2002 that we beat him. And so I came into the state Senate in 2002. There were 11 of us who were in the minority in the state Senate out of 33. And it had been that way since the Civil War. The Republicans had not been in power since the Civil War. Matter of fact, I was the first Republican senator to be elected in Rutherford County, as well as those other three counties I mentioned since the Civil War. We did have a black senator from Smyrna that was elected right after the Civil War. There were several because they were Republicans.
Right.
We had several legislators who were elected right after the Civil War because they were part of the Lincoln Party.
Right.
From the Civil War. So
I had no idea. What a great piece of history.
Yeah, Mr. Keeble was the Mike Sparks always talks about it, and there's a bust inside the state capital of Senator Keeble being the first elected black senator, Republican, since the Civil War. But I after 2012, the next census came along, and Rutherford County had grown so much that it took two senators just to represent Rutherford County. So I jettisoned off Murray, Marshall, and Lincoln, and then I acquired about 2/3 of the county, and the other third went to Jim Tracy, who represented that section of Rutherford, the eastern part, and then he had Bedford and Moore and Marshall. He picked up, and Lincoln picked up those counties that Shane Reeves now covers.
And I should have mentioned small business owner in my introduction as well, so I apologize.
No. That's all right. That's just been part of the life cycle of an old man like me,
Well, I'm right there with you, right there with you.
But I'm working at MTSU now. I took John Hood's place, such a fine statesman and gentleman that John was, and now he's still doing well mentally. He's 92, but he served this community well.
Could I share something that he and I share?
Yeah, sure.
He was chairman of the Murfreesboro City School Board was president of the Tennessee School Board Association in 1977. And I was chairman of the Rutherford County School Board and had the honor of being the TSBA president in 2017.
Yes.
So I always I've enjoyed that, having that in common with him as well.
Yeah, he was a past national president of the National Exchange Club and our child abuse centers, and then I came in and became national president in 96.
Wow. Okay.
So he and I would vacation every year, and he'd take his family and I'd take mine. We go to national conferences, our national convention somewhere every year.
Yes, sir.
So the Hoods and I are my family are very close. Of course, Gary and Mark. Gary's, I think, still working with First Bank in the mortgage business, and no, Mark is. Gary married Dottie West, Shelley West, Dottie West's daughter.
Oh,
and he was very involved with Academy Award production. You know, he started out at Hee Haw and then did Academy Awards and the Emmys and stuff. He's a great producer. So the Hoods are close to our family.
He was an amazing leader.
But and of course, funny story about John. When I first got elected to the Senate, John was already in the House of Representatives, and he came into my office and he said, "Here, Bill, will you carry this for us?" It was a name of a bridge or a road or something. And I said, "Sure." And so I turned to my assistant, who was brand new, and moved down here from Wisconsin. And I said, "Shirley, file this. Go ahead and file this bill, and I'll be the Senate sponsor, and John's going to be the House sponsor." And so towards the end we were getting ready to sign die. We were 3 days away from adjourning, the General Assembly, and John comes in on. Did you ever put that bill I gave you on notice? So we get the bill passed. And I said, "I don't know, John. I had so many bills. There again, I was one of 33 versus 95. You got to carry, those senators have to carry all those bills for the 95 House members." I turned to Shirley and I said, "Shirley, where's that bill that John brought us? Did you file it?" And she gets up from her desk and goes over to the filing cabinet, and she goes, "Yeah, right here it is." And I said, "No, you were supposed to file it with the clerk, not put it in a filing cabinet."
Not in the filing cabinet. That's hilarious, Senator.
I just looked I was so embarrassed. And I said, "John, we're going to have to wait till next year."
I need to tell Zach. Does he know that story?
I don't know if he might remember that.
I will share that.
Yeah,
with him.
I think he might remember that. Yeah, that was fun.
That was, that was cooperation across the aisle.
Yes, it was. And I served, had some of my good bill sponsors across the aisle. Charlie Curtis, for one, the former House member and county mayor from up in White County, Sparta, Tennessee. He was probably my biggest sponsor in the House. So we saw eye to eye on so many things, just different parties.
Being a state senator, I know federal level is, I can't even comprehend, but just being with the way our state has grown and with the, municipalities growing the way they are, just all the things that come across your desk, I just can't imagine.
Yeah, when we first moved here, I'm originally from Kingsport. I was born in Kingsport, Tennessee, and moved here in '62. Dad came here with State Farm Insurance because South Central office was located here. And I think the population of Murfreesboro was 19,000. And, of course, when I was county mayor, we ran that census, and it came back in the county. We're bumping well over 350,000. So it's just been amazing, the growth that has occurred in this community. And it was a challenge for me as mayor when I left the Senate. I think being on the county commission gave me the knowledge to become a better senator. And then when I became a senator, I stayed there for 16 years and came back and became county mayor. It gave me that knowledge of who, as you know, a lot of times it's who you know, not how much you know.
Sure.
And having those relationships that I had formed at the state level, it made things a whole lot easier. I could pick up the phone and call on speed dial so many people at different state offices to get things done for the county. So that helped me a lot during that period of time. And then COVID hit my second year as mayor, and that was quite the challenge.
Sure.
Quite the challenge. And as we're hearing today on the news that the report came out of the House committee, that it was not a wet market bat that started COVID. It came out of an accident in a laboratory in Wuhan.
That Dr. Fauci actually involved in that laboratory?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So,
that came out today too. I was listening on the news.
Wow.
So, and proved that the mask was not didn't really save any lives. That was probably, Wayne, out of all my years in public service, that was the hardest decision I probably ever had to make, and I think it probably affected my race when I ran again for mayor, because some people didn't like me mandating the mask.
Yes, sir.
I was trying to be on top of things as it was unfolding in front of us. I remember my director at EMS came to me, the sheriff came to me, our public safety director came to me, all in panic, going, "We're about to run out of PPE," and which are the face masks and the gowns.
Sure.
And so there again, I knew somebody that knew somebody, because everybody was scrambling to get masks, and I knew somebody that knew somebody in San Francisco who knew somebody in China. And I said, let me make a phone call and see if I can get some masks for you, because I wanted to make sure that our public servants, from EMS, the ambulance drivers, and the deputy sheriffs who were having to go in houses and talk to people and pull people over. I wanted to make sure they were protected, because we were only listening to what Fauci was telling us, right?
Yes, sir.
So I wanted to make sure that we were prepared to handle that, not knowing that it wasn't as necessary. So I went to Teb Beatty, our county trustee, and I said, "Teb, I've got a connection that can get us some face mask quickly as possible. I need you to cut a check for $65,000 and I need you to wire it to this guy's name and PO box or bank account number in San Francisco." And he said, "What's his name?" I said, "David Wong." Then he goes, "You want me to send $65 million to a guy named David Wong and you don't know him?" And I said, "It's a leap of faith." And about 8 days later, UPS pulled up down at our public safety building, and we all went running out there and opened the back and started popping boxes, and there was actually face mask in there, so that was, but the governor called me one morning. Governor Lee called me and he said, "Mayor, you're the only county in the mid-state that hasn't made it mandatory to wear masks." And I said, "I'm just having a hard time with that. And I'm listening to what, my directors of both hospitals. I'm listening to the medical community. I'm listening to seeing what's happening in New York. They were stacking bodies in U-Haul trucks, etc. But taking away that freedom when government mandates, that's what I had a hard time with.
Sure.
And I finally I gave in and made it mandatory, and that was a very, very hard decision for me to do that. I don't know if it saved any lives, but it was just something I prayed about, and I said, if I can save one person, by doing that. But I talked to the other mayors in the county, and they were all behind me so I pulled the trigger, and then people started calling them, and then they said, "You need to call Mayor Ketron. He's the one that made that decision."
Just pass the buck, I guess.
They did, and so I had several people when I ran for re-election told me that that's why they were voting against me, because I took away their freedom, and it was tough.
I remember President Eisenhower, I think as he was leaving office, said, "Beware of the military, I forget exactly the way, the military war complex or whatever."
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm thinking that we need to beware of the pharmaceutical manufacturers complex that, they just, we've become a nation of ill and pharmaceuticals to make us well, rather than maybe eating and exercising and doing those things.
Absolutely, and it's time that we start focusing on that as a nation once again, and I think this new administration is probably going to do that.
Yes, sir.
But my life in public service here has been gratifying for me personally. Growing up in Murfreesboro, I went to Mitchell Nielsen, went to Central High School, and then MTSU, where you and I first met. I became an Eagle Scout at First Methodist Church, and
that's pretty amazing.
I was 12 years old when I became an Eagle Scout.
That is way cool.
But the motto of the Boy Scouts is be prepared. And so that's what always gave me that ability to start forming my life of always looking at the bigger picture of what was happening around me, and always being prepared for what might come my way. And I ran a lot of races and was successful on some and not successful on others, because some things I didn't see coming. But it's like what I tell people today. They come and ask me, well, what should I do when I'm getting ready to run, throw my name in the hat, and I'm going to run for political office. And I said, well, always be honest and truthful. Focus on three things and continue to talk about those three things that make the most difference to you, that you can connect with, because you'll be in so many different places you'll forget that you even ask the people for their vote, which is the third thing that you need to do, is ask people for their vote.
Yes, sir.
Because you may not see them again. You may see them several times, and they'll say, oh, you already asked me for a vote. And I said, well, I just want to make sure I didn't forget you, but ask them for their vote, and then talk about those three things that are most important to you, because that repetitive, people seeing you, hearing you, and what you're trying to do for the community will go a long way, and always be prepared.
Running for office is such a difficult endeavor, and I've always said, I think I didn't make this up, but everyone should run for a political office at least once.
Oh, no, you definitely move into a glass house, and everybody sees everything and that goes on in your life or has gone on in your life, and if they don't see anything, they'll make it up. And unfortunately, in politics, perception is reality. Yes, and so they'll start saying things, and next thing you know, you're hearing it come back to you and going, what? That's not true, yes, sir. But you got to spend so much time and money to overcome what people are saying about you. It can be brutal.
Yes, sir.
But I've been fortunate that I have a great family. My wife, Teresa, and my daughter, Kelsey. And Kelsey's 34 now. And Teresa and I just celebrated last month, or in October. We've been married 41 years, and having family support. And that's the other thing I tell people when they want to run. Make sure that your family is behind you.
Yes, sir.
You won't be successful because it all starts there. They got to be able to give you to the people.
Yes, sir.
Give part of your life to the people instead of being selfish for themselves.
We'll come back and we'll probably talk some more about Central when you get back.
Oh, yes.
So you're listening to former Mayor, Senator, Commissioner Bill Ketron with Tuesday Mornings with Rick, and we'll be back here in just a few minutes.
Are you tired of feeling like just another number with your insurance provider? At Rayburn Insurance Agency in Smyrna, Agent Rick Hall prides himself on offering personalized service that puts you first. Every client's needs are unique. From personal home and auto coverage to tailored business insurance, Rick Hall's got you covered. Rick Hall at Rayburn Insurance Agency in Smyrna, where you're more than just a policy number. You're a neighbor.
Efficient 3-bedroom, 3-bath home located in the highly sought-after Black Fox Crossing neighborhood. Enjoy the convenience of 2 primary suites and a 2-car garage. Recent updates include new flooring in the living areas and bedrooms, as well as fresh paint throughout. This home comes fully equipped with appliances, including a washer-dryer and an extra fridge in the garage. For more information, Call Chip Walters at Exit Realty Bob Lamb & Associates, 615-542-1915.
Celebrate Christmas downtown, the official Rutherford County tree lighting event on December 6, 5 to 8 p.m.
Sarah Callender with Main Street Murfreesboro.
Dancers, singers, live reindeer, horse and buggy rides, free games and crafts for children.
Bring the family downtown, Friday, December 6 at 5.
Santa lands at the courthouse to turn on the Rutherford County Christmas tree lights.
Free photos of Santa in the courthouse 7 to 8 and a movie playing outside.
Holiday memories with your loved ones.
The lighting of the Christmas tree and more. Friday, December 6 at 5. Visit MainStreetMurfreesboro.org.
Murfreesboro is conducting a special census, and we need your help. An accurate population count means more shared state revenue for things like road repairs, park improvements, and new sidewalks. Here's Murfreesboro Mayor Shane McFarland.
Another big benefit is the more dollars we receive could also help keep our taxes low. We need everyone to participate, so take part in our 2025 special census.
Count me in.
Okay, count me in.
And count me in too.
Let's make sure every resident counts. Visit murfreesborocensus.com.
This is Good Neighbor Events with Bart Walker. Brought to you by AmeriCare Pest Control and the law offices of John Day.
This is a paid legal ad.
You've probably heard it a million times. If you're injured, call a lawyer. And you probably haven't because you don't know how much it will cost, how long it will take, or even if you have a case. At the law offices of John Day, we provide a free initial consultation because we understand that folks don't want to pay a lawyer only to find out they don't have a case. If you think we can help, we do so on a contingency basis, which means we only get paid if you do. Seriously injured? Call me, John Day.
It's the most wonderful time of the year, and WGNS Good Neighbor Events let you know what's happening. This is the big Christmas Parade weekend. The Laverne Parade of Lights and the Eagleville Christmas Parade are both this Saturday night at 5. Laverne's Parade of Lights includes a whole lot more. Laverne activities begin at 3 o'clock this Saturday afternoon with the Winter Festival, and then the Laverne Parade starts at 5 o'clock this Saturday night. That's not all. Both the Murfreesboro and Smyrna Christmas parades are on Sunday. Smyrna's parade used to be on the first Sunday, with Murfreesboro's on the second. But this year, they both ended up on the second Sunday. Not only are they the same date, they're the same time. Both Murfreesboro and Smyrna's parade start at 2 o'clock this Sunday. And the Grand Marshals of the Murfreesboro Christmas Parade, MTSU Lady Raiders Associate Head Basketball Coach Matt Insel and his dad, the head basketball coach Rick Insel. We'll see you at the Christmas Parade Sunday. Those are WGNS Good Neighbor Events.
Rutherford weather.
Skies become mostly sunnier this afternoon with a high in the mid-30s. Tonight, mostly clear, low of 21. Wednesday, slight chance for rain, late high 53 degrees. I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki on News Radio WGNS. Currently, it's 27.
We're powered by Middle Tennessee Electric. Get in the holiday spirit in downtown Murfreesboro at the annual tree lighting powered by MTE. It's Friday, December 6th, 5 to 8 p.m. Enjoy caroling, visit Santa, and the magic of the tree lighting. Downtown Murfreesboro, December 6th.
This is the Roundtable from News Radio WGNS on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna. Listen and watch at wgnsradio.com.
And welcome back to the second segment of Tuesday Mornings with Rick and Wayne. Brother Rick is not with us this morning, but we will persevere and hopefully be back with him next Tuesday. And it's been my pleasure this morning to have a longtime friend and public servant who's worn more hats than I can just about name, between commissioner, senator, mayor, and Senator, it's cool to have you. And let's talk about Central.
Central High School.
Amazing facility.
Yeah. It was Central High School and then became Central Middle and now Central Magnet.
Yes, sir.
Same building. So it was an amazing time for, because we only had, 2 high schools back, or maybe 3, Eagleville, Smyrna, and Murfreesboro, and that was Murfreesboro during that period of time. And look at all the high schools we have now.
At least 2 that had football teams anyway between Central and,
yes.
Of course, Smyrna. We were a much smaller facility than at one time. Was Central the largest student population high school in the state?
In the state, we were.
Okay.
We sure were, because and then 2 years later, 71 was the year we won the state championship, and then 73? There was one more year. David Parsons' class came in right behind us, and then 73 was the first year for Oakland and Riverdale.
Right.
So it was it split that and took that talent because we were loaded with talent in 71 when we won the state championship.
That was just, we were talking about that team a little bit off air. Remind me how many went to major.
We had 13 went to Division I players went to Division I universities during that period of time. Then you had Steve Warren and Steve had already graduated, but Donnie Bratton went to Southwest, now Rhodes, down in Memphis. Wasn't a Division I team, but we had such talent. Carl Watkins.
Well, David Parsons was a junior on that team.
He was a junior, and
then he
our
went
quarterback.
To UT, and he went to UT.
Yeah, and matter of fact, his coach just died. 2 weeks ago, I guess.
Coach Battle.
Coach Battle, and so Coach Battle had actually offered me a scholarship.
Oh, cool.
He had offered me a quarter scholarship to come to UT, and I'd always been in love with UT. Having been from East Tennessee, I just had grown up being all orange, and that's where I really wanted to go. And when I got that offer, but I was head equipment manager on the football team of 71 when we won the state championship. And so we didn't have a football field. So we always used MTSU's grass field.
Right.
But our job, my job, and my Ed Netherland and Bob Pittard and some of those guys that were my other managers, our job was to go out on Friday. Coach Wyndham, Gene Wyndham, our head coach, would get us out of class, and we'd have to go out on a Friday before a Friday night's game, and we'd have to line the field off. We had an old sprayer, and we spray the lines and the numbers on it. Coach Murphy, Bubba Murphy, just happened to, he was athletic director at the time. Murphy Center's named after. He came down on the field and was watching us get ready for a big game that night. And he goes, Bill, where you planning on going to school? And I said, well, I've been offered a quarter scholarship at UT under Coach Battle. And he said, well, I've got two managers that are graduating. He said, I know how good you have been. I've watched you. He said, what if I offered you a full scholarship?
Wow.
I said, well, that would be quite an honor, Coach. I said, let me go home and talk to my dad. And my dad went home that night at dinner, and he goes, son, he said, Coach Murphy must think an awful lot of you. Because my dad was seeing cha-ching dollars, was going back, staying in his pocket.
And he gets to keep his son at home, too.
Yeah, and so he said, it's up to you, son, whatever you want to do. But, I'd take a whole versus a quarter, scholarship. And so I came in the next day and went to Coach Murphy's office. That's when we were still down in the basement of Alumni Gym, and went to his office.
Love to tell about that dressing room from time to time.
So I went in to Coach Murphy, and I said, Coach, I talked to Dad last night, and he goes, well, what'd he say? And he said that if it were him, he'd take a whole versus a quarter. He said, so what's your decision, son? And I said, I'm in, Coach. I said, I am true blue.
There you go.
I said, no more orange in my closet.
Yeah.
That paid my way through college and helped prepare me for life as being a manager, managing life, managing my small business, my other convenience store, managing my campaigns. It helped me see things and make sure that it's detail.
So when I reported for fall camp in 72, Was that turf new?
Yes.
there?
Matter of fact, when I graduated that spring of 71, they were in the process because our gymnasium wasn't large enough. Murphy Center was under construction.
Right.
Murphy Center was not there, and so we had to have our graduation for Central out on the football field, and it was all tore up. But they put a stage out there, and we walked along the track, and then went up on the stage and came back down, and everybody sat in the stands. So that was when they were putting the turf in for the first time. So when you got there, it was a brand new turf.
Well, I've always referred to it as
turf.
Well, I thought it was a Scotch-Brite pad.
Well, looking at the training room, it was that way, right?
Yeah, because Dexter Dotson, my first day, freshman covers, we were covering punts against first team defense and second team defense, and Dexter just laid back. Wearing shirts and shorts and helmets, and Dexter throws a body block on me and sends me skidding across.
It was like a Brillo pad.
Oh, yeah, it just took the hide from my ankle up to my shoulder.
Well, and we didn't have the equipment, for turf at that time.
Right.
They came out with the turf, and we didn't have proper shoes. I remember us ordering shoes that fell apart after about 2 games. They were kind of canvas. Remember the black canvas?
I do.
And other teams would come play Murfreesboro Central. That year in 72, they didn't have turf shoes. So we'd have to loan them our shoes.
Yes,
they were so cheap. I'm surprised Dollar General didn't sell them.
There you go. Just the neat thing, and I'm pleased that Oakland and Riverdale, they have their own stadiums. But when before our game on Saturday, we'd go to the Blue Raider room and either watch a movie there, or we could go watch Riverdale and Oakland, whoever they were playing.
That's right.
And that was the coolest because they had such huge crowds.
Well, sometimes bigger than what we had on Saturday for MTSU's game.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
The whole town turned out because there was just a culture of football in our community back then.
Yeah. So who was the principal at Central when you were there?
John Swafford was the principal, and Jesse Faulkner was the assistant principal. But Butch Bong, Butch was an assistant coach who's now just got elected to the Rutherford County School Board.
Yes, sir.
Jim Moon was assistant coach. He left here and went to BGA, and then went back his dad owned a pencil business down in Lewisburg. Ray Hughes, who, of course, the stadium at Oakland's named after because he left MTSU and went to Oakland and started that whole dynasty, I guess, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And Bobby Morton, Teddy Morris, both were assistant coaches during that period of time.
Yep. So your dad was in the insurance industry.
Right.
And now at Middle, did you major in, did they have the insurance program?
No, they didn't. They did not. Dad came here with State Farm, was underwriting superintendent in fire company with State Farm, and in 68 he left and started a small agency down in Collegedale where they make little Debbie cakes.
Okay.
Went in business with a State Farm agent down there who was also the mayor of Collegedale, and Dad started Universal Insurance and then came back here and started Universal International in our garage at home, and then when I graduated 75, he said, "Why don't you come into business with me and give it a chance?" He said, "If you don't like it at the end of the year, go dig ditches, be a forest ranger, go do whatever you want to do." And
Yes, sir.
and I thought about that, being a Boy Scout. I thought being a forest ranger might be cool, you know. Back during that period of time, I was not a flower child, but I was a wood guy, and because everybody was a hippie back then, you know. So I came in, and the end of the year, I was getting pretty close to saying I don't like this stuff because you had to know so much about everything, you know, in order to provide insurance for it and all those scenarios. But there again, I fell back on my management experience of being a manager, for the football team. Just all the little finite things. You got to be anal retentive to be in that business, as you know.
Yes, sir.
You can't because you get sued.
Yeah. Well, I went from a direct writer, and Dub Rayburn was a traveler's rep,
right,
and decided to open an agency in Smyrna, and I think he ran his agency from his kitchen table for a while, and then slowly but surely grew his business, and all three of his sons were involved at one time, and I came along, and it's just kind of pretty cool that it kind of worked out that way.
Yeah.
And it's tough knowing all the idiosyncrasies of all the different carriers.
Oh yeah, things they like, things they didn't like, and every underwriter was different.
Your dad had to find it probably a little disturbing going from State Farm,
being a direct writer,
and being a direct writer, and then all of a sudden, if he had contracts with a half dozen.
Well, we
companies.
actually started out with St. Paul Insurance Company. It's no longer in business, and they wrote a lot of medical malpractice. And when I first came in, after that year, that's all we had. We didn't have personal lines or anything. It was all medical malpractice. We wrote nursing homes. We wrote, anything medically related, dentists, doctors, etc., and had a huge book. And then they decided to go to claims made coverages, and you had to buy what they call pigtail.
Yeah, pigtail.
Yeah. Coverage to come back and for any losses that doctors or the hospitals might have, and so it started getting complicated, and then they folded because they just got sued so many times. St. Paul did, and they'd been around since the 1800s.
Yes, sir. That having been in the insurance industry must have helped, because with the state and all the insurance opportunities through employees and general liability and
it really did. When I was appointed by the lieutenant governor when I was in the Senate, I replaced Jerry Cooper. Jerry was chairman of state and local in the Senate, and that's when we took majority in the Senate. After 150 years, we took majority because we had gone out. I became caucus chairman in the Senate, and we went out and started finding. Ron Ramsey became our lieutenant governor then, after Ben Atchley, and so my job was to go out and find the best candidates to run for the Senate, and so we took majority and then supermajority, and then we turned to the House and helped them get majority. We started raising money for them and finding good candidates, and they became supermajority, and then we took all three, the trifecta, like in Washington today. We had the Senate, the House, and the governor, and you can get things done a lot better and quicker instead of being stalled out. So it was a challenge for me, but I really enjoyed being caucus chairman for the Senate. It was an honor that my colleagues voted me into that position.
Yes, sir. This morning you're listening to former Mayor, Senator, Commissioner Bill Ketron, and we'll take this break and be back in just a few minutes.
Paid for by Christian Care Ministry.
So right now may be the perfect time for you to rethink how you pay for health care. And here's why. This time of year is decision time for a lot of people, but it's also when you can join Medi-Share and save even more than usual. For many families, joining Medi-Share means saving about $500 a month, which is a game changer for a lot of people, obviously. But what's more, Medi-Share members like it. Their satisfaction rate is 98%. Imagine that. And Medi-Share is a proven thing, too, for over 30 years. It's a Christian community of hundreds of thousands of people now. And here's the thing. If you join before December 15th and you mention the promo code SHARE, they'll waive your application fee, so you save even more right off the bat. I'll give you the number here in a second, but just call and you'll get a price within 2 minutes. And again, the deadline is December 15th. So call now. You'll save even more. Here's the number. 855-51-BIBLE. That's 855-51-BIBLE. 855-51-BIBLE.
This holiday season, let's make it magical with First Shot Foundation's Christmas for the Kids. Help bring Christmas joy to Rutherford County kids who need it most. Your support helps provide toys, warm clothing, and a reason to smile. Several local leaders have offered to match funds for the first $10,000 raised, so every dollar you give means $2 for local kids. You can be the reason a child's eyes light up with excitement this Christmas. Go to First Shot Foundation on Facebook to find out how to give. That's First Shot Foundation on Facebook.
At Bud's Tire Pros, we sell all major brands of tires, and we invite you to stop by today for that next set of tires. Or maybe you need us to check out your vehicle before you head out of town. We offer everything from brakes to batteries, alignments, and more. No appointments necessary, just stop on by.
I'm Allison Mitchell with Bud's Tire Pros. We're located on East Main Street, exactly 3 miles from the town square, 1 mile past Rutherford Boulevard. Visit us online at budstireprostn.com.
As a leader in environmental services, sustainability is deeply integrated into our business model. At Middle Point Landfill, we are environmentalists at heart. We use a cutting-edge technology in combination with our deep experience in recycling and waste services to protect our environment and our neighbors. That's our job, and that's our promise. This is Mike Klassen with Middle Point Landfill. We invite you to learn more about us at middlepointlandfill.com. For public services, we are sustainability in action.
For 75 years, Murfreesboro Medical Clinic has been a cornerstone of health and compassion in our community. From our humble beginnings to the advanced, comprehensive care we offer today, our commitment to you has never wavered. With 8 locations across Murfreesboro and Middle Tennessee and over 100 physicians, we continue to provide the highest standard of care. Then, now, and always, your health is our mission.
This is the Roundtable from News Radio WGNS on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna. Listen and watch at wgnsradio.com.
And welcome back to the third and final segment of Tuesday Mornings with Rick and Wayne. And we have as our guest this morning former commissioner, senator, mayor, caucus chairman, lot of hats you've worn, my friend. I think we were going to talk about one of the biggest battles that you've experienced in your life.
Yes, absolutely, Wayne. It was when I was in the Senate. Matter of fact, it's been 10 years ago. I was got great news. Praise God for that I was cancer-free. But probably 2 years prior to that, 12 years ago, I felt a little bump in my lip, and I kept touching it with my tongue, and so I called my doctor at the Frisk Center in Nashville at Centennial Hospital, and he said, well, it sounds like a blocked salivary gland. Come on into the office and let me take a look at it. And I said, well, I'm getting ready to go with MTSU on a trip out of the country. And he says, well, stop before you go to the airport, stop and get some lemon drops and suck on those lemon drops, and maybe it'll open that pore and open it up inside your mouth. And sure enough, it did. I ate that whole bag going to 16-hour flight out of the country. And it went away. But then Teresa and I went to a UT game up in Knoxville, and then went on to Gatlinburg. And I got back after the game to the hotel in Gatlinburg, and I touched it in my lip again. And I was going, that bump's come back. She said, well, you better go get that checked out. So I'll go in. Fast forward, the doctor took me down the hall to an ENT. He slid it open, found it, did a autopsy on the bump, what he was able to get out. And sure enough, he calls me like 2 days before Thanksgiving and told me that I was between stage 3, stage 4 non-Hodgkin's lymphoma.
Goodness.
And he was getting me over to an oncologist at Sarah Cannon quickly. because I had B cell and it was fast growing.
Mm-hmm.
I get there and they start me on chemo immediately. Put the port in, start the chemo. I go five every 20 days. So I did 5 treatments of chemo, heavy chemo, and that was a journey within itself. Get to the end of it. Doctor says, well, it didn't work, Bill. And he said, the chemo is just not working. I said, what are we going to do? And he goes, well, we're going to try stem cell replacement. And so if we do the transplant on stem cell, but first we have to find out if you can harvest your own stem cells.
That's what I was going to ask.
Yeah.
How does that work?
Yeah, well, they go in first and punch a hole in your pelvis and suck out some bone marrow and then run the test in the lab to see if you can accept your own, harvest your own. And I said, well, what if we can't? And he goes, well, you go on a donor list. And it's a worldwide donor list, like a heart, kidney, et cetera. And I said, well, what if I can't harvest mine and we don't find anybody? And he said, well, you need to go home and start preparing things, get things in order, because you got about 90 days to live. And so...
Well, you've never been told anything like that before, have you?
No. It shook my world.
It
shook my world when the doctor called me and we were in Publix when he told me I had cancer. It knocked me to my knees. But, the thing that got me through, and I like to share this with people who are going through it, is attitude. You got to get up every day and say you're going to beat it. Because just the drugs themselves will wear on you to where you start getting depressed, and then you don't think that you're going to be able to make it. You got to be positive, and then prayer. I had prayers coming from as far away as South Africa.
Well, I know a lot of people in my group that you were in my prayers as well, and my son was praying for you, and I know a lot of people that are praying for you.
Thank you for that. I belonged to the First Methodist Church, but I even had an invitation to go out to World Outreach, and guys the kitchen crew out there always have lunch, and they invited me to come out, and they got together and put their hands on me and anointed my head with oil and prayed for me.
How cool.
Darlene, who worked in office when your son worked for me,
yes.
Zach worked for us. Her husband had gone to South Africa and met some prayer warriors in a tribe down there, and he was able to get a message for them to put my name on their list for prayer. So I had prayers coming from everywhere, and it's, I asked God, if you still want me, if you still have something for me to do, I know you'll keep me around. Otherwise, you can take me in 90 days. And so I was able to come out of it through that prayer and that positive attitude. It truly does. So I'm just been blessed to be here and to continue to serve people in Rutherford County.
Yes, sir. Well, what an amazing victory over such a dreaded disease, and be representing our university on the Hill now. So we just that's got to be pretty cool.
It is pretty cool, and from where I first got my roots and becoming True Blue, I've since we built an Open Murphy Center in 72. I've had season tickets. We picked them out before they installed the seats. My dad and I did, so I've had them over 50 years.
I see you there.
Yeah, try not to miss a game, man. It's just I love the university, but more than that, Wayne, is what Coach Murphy did for me. Gave me so much for my life that I want to continue to give back. So I continue to support my university.
Well, and without a doubt, as a county commissioner, as a state senator, as a county mayor, you, without a doubt, have always supported our university.
Yes, sir. Like I said, I got rid of that orange and put on the blue.
I remember one of the fun things to do was after practice or before practice to watch you and the other managers
we
throw
dress
the ball
up.
around.
Yeah, we dress up. Yeah. We had our own
competition.
Had a little competition, be 3-on-3 and play a little football.
Tell you what, Sammy Yoakley, who was from Columbia, left-hander, I'm not sure that he wasn't the best quarterback back in the day.
Back in the day.
And he wasn't even...
he during the games he would run the ball out, and sometimes you'd have the opposing team's ball end up on our side. Instead of running it all the way around,
he'd chuck it.
He'd chuck it 50 yards to the other side,
Yeah.
and Coach Peck be going, dang.
Yeah.
So he actually used him and dressed him out. You remember in scrimmaging, he'd put a vest on him.
Yeah. He could hum it, and But I love watching you guys because y'all beat the heck out of each other. Y'all took it seriously.
It was a lot of fun back then, just to dress up and the players would be over there going, yeah, hit him.
Yes, we'd be encouraging some.
Yes.
But you and your family, you've had such a long, storied history with our county community, serving not only locally but state and I guess nationally in some aspects as well. So, God bless you for your service.
Thank you, Wayne. It was an honor to be your friend. Going all the way back to 72 when we first met.
Can you imagine? It's over 52 years.
I know. That's when we had different color hair.
And I had hair.
And but it was a pleasure when I was mayor to serve with you. When you served on the county commission, I could always count on you when I was running the meetings to call on you when you'd stick your hand up, that I knew that there would be some level-headed, common sense questions that would come forward that would help, because all I did was serve as chairman. It was the research that you guys did, and it was my job as mayor to help give you that information as much as possible, because everybody has their own job. My job was full-time to serve the commission. But it was a good 4 years, and I enjoyed that relationship as well. And your son, Zach, you won't find a finer man that you raised there.
Thank you. I'm thinking, with all the growth you contended with as a commissioner, as a senator, as a county mayor. Now the growth you're concerned about is our university. So it's you've kind of flopped a little bit, switched a little bit, not flopped, but switched.
We've got some great things happening at the university right now. Moving our aviation aerospace program down to Shelbyville. They're so elated about that opportunity, and working with TVA right now. Hopefully we can get a grant from TVA and get some electric buses, EV buses, to transport our students back and forth between the two campuses.
Concrete program, amazing.
Concrete program, man. They're working with NASA. I don't know if you know that, but they're working with NASA. They got a grant from NASA because they're trying to figure out how to make concrete on the surface of the moon without water.
Yeah. Wow. Good.
It's kind of cool. Yeah, we've got some great things happening.
That is cool.
Yeah.
Senator, thank you so much for being with us this morning. And
thank you, Wayne.
I hate that Brother Rick.
I'm sorry he couldn't
be here, but of course he's taking care of his lovely wife.
And we pray for her and a speedy recovery.
Yes, sir. And we're just, again, I enjoy your friendship, and I thank you for the years of friendship.
Well, you're quite welcome. And I wish all of you, Brian, you too, Merry Christmas to you.
Merry Christmas to you, brother.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas to your family, and we will be back here next Tuesday. Hopefully, Brother Rick will be in his chair and
tell him what he missed today.
I will. I'm sure he's listening. Actually,
well, let's hope that he is.
But again, hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving, and go Patriots.
Go Patriots.